Here we are, and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. You know, it's the summer. People are doing lots of different things. We've had Lily and Shy for the last couple of weeks, and now we've got Shy and Becky. Eventually, it'll be all three of us again.
Or is it? Because I'm slowly taking over Lily's life here in the Canary Islands.
I mean, you did log in as her from her desk.
I logged in as her. I work out with her trainer. I take walks with her best friend. I am podcasting from her office, and you'd think I am her, except...
And you can open up her phone with your face sometimes.
I can. I opened up, and I knew her. Can I just say, I 100%, just like, she has not told me her computer password, ever. I 100%, one try, got it.
Really?
Yeah, one try. That's all I'm going to say.
What else are you doing with Lily's life?
I'm fixing her effing the temperature set on her air conditioner. Okay, Shy.
Okay.
If you were to guess, like, Lily setting her air conditioner, what do you think, like, what is the most unreasonable temperature?
83 degrees.
You're very close. Her air conditioner is set to 79 degrees.
No, that's not an air conditioner. That's an oven. That's a convection oven. When you turn on the air conditioner in her office, the AC temp, like, it is going to cool itself down to 79 degrees. So what degrees are it before you turn on the air conditioner?
Exactly.
Well, the best is when Lily says, when you say to her, you don't have air conditioning, she says, yes, I do. It's in the living room. And it's not in the living room. She has a living room. And then across the room, like 20 feet, on the ceiling, pointing directly down at the dining room table, is an air conditioner that's never on.
I will say I was very upset. I was like, not very upset. I was very hot the other day, like hot to the point where it was making me emotional. Like, my body, I couldn't self-regulate in the temperature that is her apartment, which is insane because, by the way, it's not as hot in the street. Like, I have an apartment a few blocks away. My apartment is nice and cool all day long. We put the AC on at night when we sleep to keep it nice and cool, but no one is hot all day. You walk in here, it is a full-on oven, and I was getting emotional from how hot I was in here. So she did put the air conditioning down, and I will say it was actually quite powerful, and after about an hour or so, the house was quite chilly. I was like, all right, I think we can back off. So it does work. It is effective, but I think the reason it works so well is because it's never in use. It, like, has its full power capacity. Staying with
Lily is like staying in a Canadian or European hotel, and I'll explain why. We just went on an amazing trip to Banff and Lake Louise with Josh and Danielle, referenced a lot recently because we watched the whole Bear for third season.
I just finished it.
Oh, good. We can. Well, we'll probably talk about it.
I just finished it actually today.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll wait for another episode with Lily to break it down, since Lily did the first.
I sobbed through the birth episode.
Oh, that was made for you. That episode was made for you. I cried
through the whole, from the moment it started, like, from the moment that, like, the birth part
What's
of it
the tone and who's this for? Becky Corman. That's that. And that episode is amazing. I love it. And so
I think it's the best episode.
So we stayed at a hotel. We stayed at a hotel in Calgary. By the way, Calgary, such a cool town. So cool. Everyone should go visit Calgary. It's rad.
It looks beautiful.
The food's great. It's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're staying in this hotel. And this is one of those situations where you get 2 keys at the front desk, not more. And when you get in order for any of the electricity...
Oh, wait, is it like a magnetic, like, key, or is it like a physical turn in the door?
No, it's a card key. Because when you get into the room, the only way to use the electricity, including the air conditioner...
You need to turn the room on?
...is to slide the key in. Now, I've seen this
Calgary?
all
I'm surprised
over
Lily hasn't started that at her house.
Well, no, Lily has a whole other system. I'll tell you how Lily's system is similar. So
someone has to stand by the breaker and turn it back on every 15 minutes.
So we put it in, and when we go out in the evening or the afternoon, Ali says, how many keys you bring with you? I'm bringing 1 because I'm leaving the other one in while we're staying in the hotel.
You're not supposed to leave the air on all day.
Well, not all day, but I don't want to come back to a hot hotel room.
I agree.
So we come back. Not only is the card not in there anymore, but it's clearly been confiscated. Like the Canadians,
Like
the
they did turn
Canadians,
down service and they stole your card.
yeah. And Allie was like, "See, you deserve it. You're busted. You shouldn't have done that." But that's just like staying at Lily's house. When Lily's house,
Unacceptable. They
if
can
you're staying,
handle a little.
if you're staying in Lily's house and you put the air conditioner on in your room and you get up to go to the bathroom,
She
her
turns it
husband
off.
runs in and turns off the air conditioning. So you get back. And your
Did you
room's
know
hot
that
again.
he claims to be allergic to air conditioning? He says he's allergic to it. He's
to
allergic
air. All right.
to
A
cold
lot of,
air.
you know, there's some
So
serious
he never
allergies.
comes to
There's
visit
some
us.
serious allergies in that house. That sounds like he's sounds like he's fake.
He's really abusing.
He should be more respectful to the people with real allergies in his household.
So that's it. So I'm in Lily's 79
This is
degree
good. We
house.
had a little opening make fun of Lil sesh. I'm sure she's going to
Yeah.
be super mad.
Yeah.
But we love her. And then the show we've both been watching, which I don't know if we even plan to watch it at the same time, is Presumed Innocent. Allie and I watched the first 2 episodes, and then a couple of nights ago, we watched the next 3 all in a row, thinking
That's exactly what happened to us.
thinking we could binge it.
Yeah.
And then we realized that it's coming out weekly.
Oh no! So we watched 2. We had a break for a few days. We went back to it, and we did 3 back to back. It was amazing. I need to tell you why I decided to watch it because
of the Jilla sauce.
No. It's not a Jilla sauce. That for me
you always
is
like
tried and
Gyllenhaal.
true. I've always
I'm the
liked
only one who's in the Jilla sauce.
But for me, Gyllenhaal, he's one of those actors where if I'm not sure what to watch, I'm like, put on something with Gyllenhaal because guaranteed it's going to be like the movie is not necessarily always going to be amazing, but he's going to be amazing enough to want to keep watching it. And generally, actually, I'm trying to think of a Gyllenhaal movie that I don't like. I don't know that I have one offhand, but I'm sitting here, I'm like, there's so much content. What do you watch? I'm like, you know what? He's so good in everything. I had just recently rewatched Roadhouse, and I was like, guaranteed this is going to be, at the very least, like, I'm going to enjoy watching him. And that is 100% true. He's so good. He's so good. He does such good face acting, right? Does such good face acting. Like, not saying a word, but just like moving tiny muscles.
Well, this guy in Presumed Innocent is very stressed.
He's very stressed. He does like stressed so finely tuned. And it's David E. Kelly who created it. And like that guy knows how to make a show.
Yeah, that I didn't realize it was David E. Kelly.
Yeah, he knows how to make a show. That's quite a combo.
Premise of the show, just for people, is Gyllenhaal plays a prosecutor, Rusty Sabich, and one of his fellow prosecutors, a woman, is murdered. And as you find out at the end of the first episode, he's a prime suspect because he had an affair with her. And you've got Bill Camp, I think that's the name of the actor, playing his mentor and the lawyer that ends up defending him.
Oh, good. So good.
And you've got Peter Sarsgaard, not Skarsgård.
Who is Jake Gyllenhaal's brother-in-law in real life. And I love that they have this awesome rivalry. And in fact, I would say like their rivalry chemistry is pretty electric of how
it's
much
an amazing part of the show. It's really one of the best parts. It's like this Javert level obsession with trying to destroy Gyllenhaal's character that Malto, played by Sarsgaard, has, which is great. And then you have, I don't remember the name of the actor. You have the actor that plays the Malto's boss.
The district attorney, I swear to God, try every time he's on screen, I look to Vlad and I just say, that casting is perfect.
Perfect. This show has perfect casting.
The most perfect casting for the guy that plays Malto. I forget.
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up. Well, they call him Delay as his nickname.
Yeah.
Is his nickname because he's not a go for the win kind of attorney.
It's like he's so perfectly cast. I don't know him from anything, but he's
all right. Let's pull up his name. Okay, so it's Nico DeLaGuardia. It's played by and I apologize in advance because I don't know how to pronounce his name. O.T. Bagbenle or Fashbenle. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he is amazing in this.
Amazing. I love everything about his intonation, his tone of voice, and
Oh
I
yeah,
and just and then just the character itself, the way that he plays it as the calm, collected, we're going to
political sort
political,
of
so
animal.
careful in everything he says to Malto. He's so careful in the way that he is like coaching him and instructing him on how to handle the case. Like this guy's always watching his own back, you could tell. And I just like, and because you just can't stand him. Like he's so
He's so
obnoxious.
good. I love every time
And
he
I
says anything in that like very reserved, like that very like aloof voice. I say something to Allie in that voice. I'm like,
and the
oh,
reason I say like he's so good is because his character is intolerable. Like you hear
he's so
his
good.
voice and it feels like the inside of your brain is being scratched at. I'm like, this is a great actor. This guy is doing a great job. And I feel badly because he's so intolerable, but I have to remind myself he's perfectly cast. It's amazing.
He he he's
It's delivering on what it needs
he
to do.
he's brilliant in this, and it's fun to see. Like you have Jake Gyllenhaal. It's fun to see all these people that I don't think normally act in a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, right? Gyllenhaal's a movie star, and
Yeah.
these folks have been in movies. I mean, but like they're not usually acting against a guy who's headlining major.
Well, Sarsgaard would be the
Oh,
only
Sarsgaard's been in a
one
lot of stuff
who's
like that.
also
That's true.
a movie,
He's been in a
movie
lot of stuff.
actor.
And then Ruth Negga as his wife, as Rusty Savage's wife,
She's
is
great.
really,
Dude,
really great.
I would say my only, for me, what doesn't, these main characters we're talking about, Rusty, his mentor, Malto, his boss, that's the core of the story, right? And it was a film first. Was it a
Did
book
you see
before
the
that?
film? And it was a book before that. But did you see the movie?
I don't think I saw them.
So I
Maybe I
see.
saw
I saw the movie and I
them.
remember the movie really well. And so
Which
not
is
not
the
not every
one
beat
with
of the
that? You know what
movie.
I'm thinking of? The one with like, which is the one with like Glenn Close and Michael Douglas? That's a different
That's
one.
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction, I've seen.
But this is kind of the same. This is later than that, but this is
Okay,
definitely. It's
in
like
that,
pre-Basic Instinct, but in that same era of
yeah,
sexy thriller.
yeah,
Be careful
mystery, crime, sexy.
be careful what you do with your private life and mess around with your private life because
That
like
will haunt you.
that will haunt you. Like think twice. This is just like Fatal Attraction, which also by the way had a show made out of it, which
Mm.
recently which is interesting. Maybe that's part of why this got made. Like these 80s
Yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
80s sexy thrillers, but it is definitely a cautionary tale about infidelity, both of these, because
So,
Rusty has not only, look, not every marriage is perfect, but he has made a mess for himself, a
a
horrible
true
mess for
mess.
himself.
So, what I will say is that when you have to adapt something into many episodes, I don't know how many episodes this is going to be, 8, 10, you have the opportunity on the one hand to dive really deep into each of these characters and storylines. I will say for me, the downside of that is that there's a good portion, especially in the last couple episodes, of like exploring his wife's arc. And maybe it'll evolve into something bigger and more interesting as far as his character and the trial and the story. But for in episodes, let's say 4 and 5, the way it's holding, I'm like,
You're less
I,
interested. Okay.
let's say I get up, I go microwave the popcorn when we're following her into the bar, and I'm
So,
like, okay, it's fine.
so,
Now, that's nothing against the actor. I actually think she's fantastic.
so
It's just
I
story
know,
wise.
I know the movie and I know the ending of the movie. And one of the things that's keeping me guessing
I
is
don't know the ending.
I'm wondering if, is it going to have the same ending? Because part of me is enjoying this so much that like I'm like, can we please True Detective this? Because there is like another book, right? There's another book that's not about. So in the movie, which in reference to the original book, the lawyer that defends him is only mentioned by is only mentioned offhanded in the show, and they chose a different lawyer to defend him in the show. And I read that the choice to have Bill Camp's character, Raymond Horgan, be the defense attorney was to kind of heighten the drama and develop this relationship of mentor. But in the movie, which is, by the way, a cool movie, Raul Julia comes in, I don't know, a third or halfway through the movie as this super defense attorney, Sandy Stern, who comes in and defends him. In the show, the woman who joins the legal team,
She's great.
who's comes from a defense firm, comes from Sandy Stern's firm.
Oh,
So they
cool.
reference Sandy Stern's firm. The second movie, Burden of Proof, I believe, or the second book, because they never made a second movie, is about Sandy Stern's character. So, like, there's potential, depending on how
For
they license
more
it,
seasons exploring other stories. Okay.
other stories or other legal cases. So
I've never read the book. Yeah.
So what I want to get at is that I'm really enjoying the expanded world, whether it's the introduction of this lawyer, the being patient with bringing in Sandy Stern, I think there's a really specific purpose with the wife's story that has to do with, like, I think what they're trying to do with you, anyways. But my point is that I think they're laying the groundwork for a lot of things that I think could pay off now, but they could pay off if there's another season. As far as the wife's arc, I think part of what you're supposed to be questioning in this is the morality of his behavior and what makes one thing okay. Does he suddenly become more sympathetic if his wife is flirting with the bartender? Which, by the way, I'm sure was not in the movie. I mean, like, I don't remember, but that's not in the movie.
I mean, I don't think
so. I think they're just giving us more layers to explore, and I have confidence with the way everything is going so far. This is going to pay off. Like, I don't remember if there's a big rivalry between Rusty Savage's Malto and there probably is. That's not the relationship that matters. That sticks in my head about that movie, but we're getting so much awesome Malto stuff, and the relevance to the case, I think, is secondary to the relationships.
So, yes. So I did not read the book. I clearly didn't see the original movie. And because of that,
well, don't watch it now.
No, I'm not going to. I don't know the ending. It's taking all my willpower not to Wikipedia it, but I don't know the ending. And I therefore think, as I'm watching it in each episode, that I'm like, I'm one step ahead. I was like, oh, no, I figured it out. I know who the killer is, what the motive is, what the opportunity was. And at the end of the episode, I'm like, God damn it, the show was one step ahead of me. And so it's like, they give you these little clues, and I'm always like thinking I've figured it out. And then they give me other clues that undo that, but then lay other seeds. And so I find it's a really fun mystery in that way, where it's like, it's very obvious who did it, but also everyone's a suspect. It could be anyone.
Well, I feel like one of the things they're building in this really well is Malto as a potential suspect.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is building him.
Like now, again, I'm saying all of this acting as if I'm watching this for the first time. So I'm not referencing what I know. But in terms of the Shy Corman rules of watching a mystery, the old, wait a minute, why is Stellan Skarsgård playing some random side character in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
He's a huge character.
So Peter Sarsgaard, like, the fact that they brought him to the table and have developed this relationship, I think they're raising the chances of him be a suspect. But I'm not going to, or they're giving depth to that argument, which I don't want to weigh in on too much. But I love the acting. I love the pacing. I was telling Hallie, I'm like, why are the episodes so short? They're 45 minutes long. They don't feel long at all. It was like, boom, 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 boom. We knocked out 3 episodes in a row. And that was a lot of fun.
But there's only been 5 that have been released so far?
Only 5, and there's 5 more coming. 5 more, 3 more, 3 more maybe.
It's so frustrating.
Let me see. And also, like, to your point originally, like David E. Kelly, that guy knows how to make a TV show,
Knows how to make a
right?
TV show.
You're talking one of the greatest TV storytellers ever,
it's true.
right? Like,
he knows how to get you. He knows how to reel you in episode to episode.
that guy, right? Okay, so just the ones that come up right away are The Practice, L.A. Law, Big Little Lies,
Ally
which I'm really,
McBeal.
yeah, Ally McBeal,
Yeah,
Chicago
Ally McBeal.
Hope. I'm assuming he did Boston Legal also then. No, did he do Boston Legal? Yeah, because The Practice and Boston Legal are in the same universe. So, anyways, this is just great. This is the perfect example of prestige miniseries. Don't overdo it. Don't, don't ruin it by giving us too many episodes. It's 8 episodes. It's basically like a long movie. It's really patient. It's really fun. And can't recommend it enough. It's really fun. It's really fun. And it's fun to see some of these actors that are not people that I have seen a lot. And I feel like they're just
there's like a good combo
own.
of a couple of big stars and excellent supporting cast.
So,
yeah,
big questions for you now.
Yeah,
I want to know your MVP. I want to know your LVP, and I want to know your predictions because I don't think it's fair for me to predict. I can talk about the case for different people being
my MVP is Rusty Savage / Gyllenhaal because he's the most compelling character.
There's something to be said where you have your main character, you just want to watch them. And
my most improved is Tommy Molto because you start off being like, oh, I guess he just is kind of playing like a dirtbag. Maybe did it as like a favor to his brother-in-law to be in this. You're like, no, this character is amazing. The story is amazing, and he's so fucking good in it. So he's my most improved. And my LVP, ooh, you know what? It's a combo, but it's a tie. Should I just pick one? Because it's a tie.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm going to give a reason why she's my
this is the
LVP.
character, not the actor. Let's be clear, because and this is not. It's not a criticism of the character. It's you're in the world who you're rooting for.
The woman who sadly is murdered because she seems like, from what we know of her as a person, she seems like a terrible person.
Well, it's very interesting.
She seems like like she does not seem like I'm so sad. It's so horrible what happens to her. I'm not saying she should have been murdered for it. Absolutely not. But like as a human being, she seems like she's really toxic, highly manipulative, and a huge liar. Like probably, yeah. So I don't know. So LVP, she seems pretty terrible.
I think they do a great thing at just showing all of these very gray, imperfect characters. And so what are your, like, let's say we were doing odds. Like, what is your top odds of who did it?
Well, based on the information that based on the info that we have, there's a very good chance Rusty will be convicted. But I'm definitely leaning Molto based on what we've seen, because I feel like when she says, oh, there's a guy at work I'm afraid of, now I think she was talking about Molto. He clearly was also obsessed with her. I think he was very jealous. He's very clearly jealous of Rusty on like so many levels. And I could definitely.
I think that was a very deliberate choice. When they used that specific thing, there's a man I'm afraid of at work.
And they kept it vague. Yeah.
That was a very cool use of words.
I'm trying to figure out though, like they've laid all these breadcrumbs, but what they haven't, and so it's easy to leap, but you don't have the concrete evidence of how Malta would go from like all these kind of insidious things to doing something such extreme. Whereas with Rusty, who's clearly obsessed with her in an extremely unhealthy way.
Also has a very bad temper.
Very bad temper. Extremely
beats the hell out of that guy in his front.
Right. You could sort of see how it's a crime of passion, and then to cover it up, ties her up.
Oh, it makes it look like it's
it's connected
this
to another
guy
crime.
to another case that only he and another person would know about, which is
Right, yeah.
which is that whole other thread, right? There's just
Yeah.
I love this kind of mystery show storytelling.
But they're making you think at one point her son did it or his son did, like they're throwing you all over the place.
Yeah,
So like I don't feel like we're giving spoilers because as you watch it, it could be anyone.
Right. That's how this thing is made.
Yeah.
And
So that's my prediction, but it's not going to ruin it for you because every episode you're going to think it's somebody else.
Good. So we'll break down Presumed Innocent in a few weeks when it drops, in a few more weeks, 3 more weeks. It's 8 episodes. So that's like our big review today. What else have you been watching? I've been watching a lot of things. Yeah. You're watching.
I've watched
keeping
so
you
much
awake?
stuff. I finished. It's very late here. I finished The Bear, which
it's very late. It's 5:30 in the afternoon.
Whatever. I finished The Bear, which
we'll break down in a special episode with Lily.
Yeah. I watched the movie A Family Affair, which is the Efron Kidman rom-com.
Can I tell you how mad I was? I'm sitting on the airplane. Okay. I'm sitting on the airplane.
Is Allie just sitting next to you cackling?
No. And I had asked Allie if she wanted to watch a show with me, the boys, right? And then this time there weren't people next to us.
I started the boys.
This time we didn't have anyone next to us. And so we didn't have to worry about accidentally, people watching us watch like horrific violent things. And she says, no, I'm reading my book. And so I was watching Girls 5 Eva season 3, which by the way, I think is fantastic. I think that was the best since better than the second one. I thought it was really great. And then I look over like partway through it and there she is just watching some Zac Efron without me. And I was like, what the hell? She's like, I didn't know you wanted to see this movie. I'm like, I want to see all Efron things. I'm like, blanket family request. If we're watching Efron, I would like to be included.
He's fabulous. Okay, so having watched it, and so I'm watching it in bed while Vlad is next to me working, and he has his headphones on, and he's working on his computer, and I'm sitting there with my iPad, and I'm watching it, and I keep cackling, and like eventually, little by little, you can just see him like take his headphones off until
you're cackling in Family Affair.
So Vlad at one point.
Wait, was it a comedy?
Yeah, the rom-com with him and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, it's an actual rom-com. It's not like a drama. It's not like a...
No, it's a rom-com with him and Nicole Kidman. Okay. No, it's a full-on rom-com.
Again, how was I excluded from this?
So I'm cackling, and like he keeps laughing alongside with me. So he's like not watching it, but he's full-on laughing the whole way through. And a couple of days later, we're discussing. We're like, was this a good movie? And what we realized is that the young woman in it, is her name Jamie King? Plays Nicole Kidman's daughter?
I will check. Hang on.
Maybe that's her name. Let's double check.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Joey King.
Joey King. Sorry, Joey King.
She's amazing.
She is off the charts, hilarious in it. Every scene she is in, you are laughing. You're full on laughing out loud. She's so funny because of how mean she is to Zac Efron. She's just so great.
And she's amazing in The Bullet Train. In Bullet Train, she plays the young woman.
And she's so funny. And I would say the point where the movie drags a bit is more when you get into the relationship drama between Zac Efron and Nicole Kidman, and that's where it starts to feel slow and dragged. They're both delightful in it. I'm not saying they're not great in it. They're wonderful in it, and they have great chemistry, and they're really funny, and it's really sweet. But the part of the movie that makes it like a really good comedy is Joey King. And so I just feel like her scenes are so funny. And then there's one period of the film where she's just like not in a whole bunch of scenes back to back. And then it drags a bit. And you're like, I wish there had been a little bit. They found a way to insert her more because she's great. And so overall, I loved it. Like I thought it was great. It was definitely for a Netflix rom-com. It was extremely good for a Netflix rom-com. And yeah, I think it was really fun. And I love Efron. I just, again,
And to
You know?
her, and just to go back to Joey King, she was also with one of our favorite guys, Logan Lerman, in We Were the Lucky
We
Ones,
Were Lucky
which is a
Ones, yeah, which
Jewish
I
family
haven't
surviving
been
in World
able
War II.
I haven't been
But
able to
she's
see.
so great in Bullet Train. She's amazing. That's really, really exciting.
Yeah, she's
That
great.
That's really exciting. Well,
So I just thought it was
I
very
want to see
sweet.
it, and I bet
She's
she's amazing
funny.
in it.
He's adorable. He's very funny in it. I think the writing is really hilarious in certain points. Like there's one line where she calls him a celebrity and goes, "That's derogatory. I'm a movie star." And I just think
That's
that's
very fun.
funny. So I think
That
that's derogatory. I'm a movie star.
um that
There's like a lot of
so
I'm saying there's like a lot of funny Hollywood digs like that. I would say the only part of it, which again it's a movie, so you don't want to like worry about the reality, you don't want to worry about the details, but in the movie she's 24 and she's worked for him for 2 years. And at 24 years old, having worked for him for 2 years, her big confrontation with him is that she's still his assistant and she should be running his company by now, in quotes. And I'm like, and her mom is like, "You're so brilliant. You totally should be running his company." And I'm like, this is the problem with that generation. They think at 24 years old, they should be running everyone's company after 2 years of work. And I'm like, you're so smart. You're so funny. Your character's so cute. But I just don't think at 24 years old, you're equipped to run somebody else's like multi-million dollar.
yeah, but that's not
company.
Joey King's fault. She's awesome.
No, it's not her fault. I'm just saying, like, in the universe that this movie exists in, and the messaging to 24-year-olds is like, but I worked for 2 years. Why am I not running everything? So that's where I'm a little bit like, I'm 40 and I'm almost 40 and I'm barely running anything. You know?
So so you watch that. Now I really want to see it, but I guess I won't watch it with Allie. Um,
No, I'll watch. You know what? Go watch it with mom. She'd love to watch it again with you. Sure,
uh,
she's already forgotten that you saw it.
she already forgot that she saw it. She while we're watching it, she's gonna be like, "Oh,
She's like,
she was,
I let me guess what happened. See, I guessed it. Mom, you saw this movie 3 weeks ago. Absolutely, I did not. But you'll guess the ending.
okay." And what else have you been watching? Shorzy season 3, by the way, hilarious. I have to stop
No,
myself from keep watching it because it's
I
just
actually
so damn
haven't
good.
started Shorzy season 3. I'm in Canary Islands. Our friend Joey has come out to visit with us the last 2 years here, which is when I watched Shorzy with him. So I'm holding out a little bit to see if he comes and visits this summer. So I'm gonna give it like another week or so, and then I'll finally watch. And then I'll finally watch it. Um, what else has I been? I don't know. I feel like that's 3 things. I've probably seen a lot more stuff that my brain's already deleted.
Okay, well,
I feel
let's
like
see.
my brain deletes stuff very quickly after having seen it.
Here's what I've been watching. At Lily's recommendation,
It's gonna be like 400 things.
Lily and I watched Allie and I watched Wicked Little Letters, which is with Olivia Colman.
Oh, I love that. And Jessie Buckley. I'm a big Jessie Buckley fan. That looks great.
And it was really good. It wasn't, I had no idea what it was, and I'm glad I didn't see a preview for it because I think I would have written it off as like a period piece. I'm not in the mood for this. Not that I'm against period pieces, but I think it, especially the way the movie pays off at the end, I think it's really, really, really intelligent. The acting's amazing. The movie made me sad though. The movie made me a little bit sad. But it was really intelligent, and I think it has a lot to do with. I think it says a lot about the way women are especially at the time, because it's at the time of suffrage and all that. Where the expectations of women are just totally unfair, and the people setting those expectations are, like, in this particular case, horrible men, and what that effect it has on everyone, and then the odd solidarity even between the enemies in the movie, I think is really beautiful. And I think this is a conversation we should have in another episode, but I think Olivia Colman might be the reigning GOAT right now. Like, Meryl Streep is the best, but like, if there's someone
Olivia
else,
Colman and
if there's someone else
stars,
who can be there, it's
people
Olivia
screaming.
Colman. Then Allie and I went to the movie theater to see The Bike Riders with Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, and an not even recognizable Jodie Comer, who was incredible in the movie. Um, the movie, you know, it achieves its promise, which I didn't know was its promise, which was this is about the origins of the big motorcycle gangs in the United States, and it is there to, in a lot of ways, contradict your expectations set by things like Sons of Anarchy. It's really about the first guys to start the motorcycle club, who were basically a bunch of like dads who wanted to be tough, but they weren't full on criminals until a little bit later. And then they show you the evolution of this. But it's not, it's almost like vignettes in the life story of this motorcycle club than it is going from point A to point B in a story. It was based on a book of all and photographs taken of bikers in the 60s and 70s. And it's like they took the photographs and they said, okay, we're going to make scenes that are the story behind these photographs, even whether they're true or not. And then we're going to stitch them all together into a story about like it doesn't run like a traditional like this is a two-hander and you're following the beginning, middle, and the end. It's more like but Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, and uh and Jodie Comer are outstanding. You have a great short little part from Michael Shannon. And then you have Norman Reedus, who is in uh what's the
Walking
Boondock
Dead.
Saints? Walking Dead, but I don't watch Walking Dead. But yeah, and he's great in it too. And all of the characters, I think, in a lot of ways, defy your expectations of who they are right away, and so it's cool. So I think it's a cool movie, but it feels almost like a '70s movie.
I don't remember the last time I was on my own podcast, but I did watch all of Hack season 3. I tried to start the new season of Loot. I think only made it like 2 episodes in. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. And
how was Hack season 3? Because Hack season 2 was so perfect that I've been afraid to watch Hack season 3.
It's the ending is such a good payoff for all the work for everything that they do in this season. Because I started off being like, okay, but the ending is such a good payoff for all the they ramp up. It takes them about a couple episodes to ramp up, and they lay such incredible groundwork and relationship building for the sledgehammer that comes down in the last episode that like knocks you on your ass, and it's so good. I still think it's fantastic, and it would make you want to watch a 4th season. But again, I feel like it ends in a place where you could or you know. And what I actually really appreciate about the season is the Jimmy and his whatever his colleague now, not his assistant. What's her name? She's so
the one
funny.
played by Megan Stelter.
Yeah. They give her a nice arc in it. They actually give her a nice evolution, a little bit of growth. She still is exactly who she is, but you understand a little bit more about why she is the way she is, like how, why does she behave? And you get a little bit more insight into her behaviors. And she's great. And then I saw Inside Out too, of course.
What did you think?
I was deeply moved by it. I thought it was beautifully done. I think it's a great movie to teach kids again about emotions and psychology and their own growth and development. Our kids really enjoyed it. If you ask them what the best part of it was, it's like a side bit, like nothing to do with any of the main characters. Pouchy is the best part, which just goes to show that
while the shit out of Bing Bong.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful film. I loved it. I cried. It's something I will have my kids rewatch. Again, incredible learning film. It's just like it's not fun the way the first one was.
Oh, and I think it's like part of this one.
I'm saying I loved it. I think it was incredible. I sobbed. I loved it. And I think in the category of animated films that are supposed to teach things and give lessons, it's like at the absolute top tippy top of lesson movies for kids in its enjoyability, because they're oftentimes so not enjoyable. It doesn't have the like sort of fun and whimsy of the original, and I think that's for me where it kind of lacked a bit, but it was fantastic. Like that's not a criticism, it's just sort of I would say an analysis. It's not I don't think it's, I don't even see that, necessarily as a criticism, but it's not like, movies these days for kids, there aren't that many anymore that are just like fun. Like there's always has to be a lesson. I'm like, okay, when are like I need more Super Mario Brothers where it's just like fun.
Right. Like the goal is find your courage.
Right.
Like
Fun.
that's it.
And that's it. But I deeply appreciate
Here's some fart jokes.
Yeah, I deeply appreciate the lesson, like this particular lesson, learning about anxiety, learning about your growing emotions. And while my 4 and 6-year-old like don't totally get it now, it will be something we can go back and rewatch.
My kids walked away from that and were like, I'm like, so was it realistic? They were like, too realistic. Don't talk to us about it. So we watched Wicked Little Letters. Then I watched The Bike Riders in the theater, which again was cool. If you like that kind of 70s Easy Rider kind of Lords of Flatbush kind of feeling of a movie. I have been very into my Infamous America podcast, and I listened. This is the one. I mean, you haven't been on the show recently, but this is a podcast that takes like a famous.
Right. I haven't been on my own show recently, but we're not going to get into that.
Okay. So I did one on the Billy the Kid after we watched Young Guns. And then I did one I listened to their another season, which was all about the Chicago Black Sox and the Shoeless Joe Jackson and that how that whole scandal. So I listened to that. It was fantastic. And then I watched the movie 8 Men Out, which is starring, which has D.B. Sweeney, John Cusack, Michael Rooker, David Strathern, Christopher Lloyd,
Whoa,
Michael
fun.
Lerner. One of those great like ensemble period pieces, with lots of flappers and old-timey jazz. Anyways, very cool movie. The historians get very jumpy about the parts that are inaccurate, but I was like, overall, it gives you the general gist of what happened. So I saw that, thought that was cool. I'm always trying to watch some old stuff that I haven't. And then I've been watching Star Wars: The Acolyte, and it is an oddly sexy Star Wars story. Like I'm not having. Some people are having. This is a show that's pretty cool. It's got lightsabers. It's got a mystery. It's got some shirtless Manny Jacinto. Manny, you know him from The Good Place?
Yeah, from Good Place.
He's like the villain, and he spends a lot of time like disrobed, like being like, let me show you how sexy the dark side is. So, it's another take on Star Wars, but I'm enjoying it. People are freaking out about it being good or bad. I'm like, some episodes are better than others. Let's not freak out, everyone. It's pretty cool.
What have you been Googling lately? Because I keep getting posts on my Instagram, suggested posts for this like Russian lightsaber academy, where it's like you go to Russia and you like learn to become like a lightsaber battle expert. No, I'm not signing up for it. I'm just saying I keep getting ads for it, and I'm like, shy. God damn it.
Anyways, so The Acolyte, it is, I think, relatively fun Star Wars. People are like, it's not as good as Andor. I'm like, it's also not as serious and annoying as Andor. So I dare you to watch 5 episodes of it.
I'll watch it, yeah.
Okay.
Juan's working so much lately. I'll watch it.
I want to know what you think of sexy Star Wars.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Manny Jacinto fan.
All right. And I think that's really all that we've got. So any other shout outs or things?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say there's this amazing singer from Israel. Her name is Shira Margalit. She just released an album that I think is fantastic. It's called Lo Bat Milucha, but that's in Hebrew. So you got to just like look her up on Spotify, Shira Margalit. The cover has her like on one side it's an angel, on the other side it's a devil. I think it's a really rad album.
I actually do. I do have one rec. Another podcast is very specifically the listener episodes of Family Trips, which is the Seth Meyers podcast. But I don't find his celebrity guest ones to be like that interesting. It's just like, oh, more celebrities talking about themselves. But the listener episodes where listeners call in and tell you their funniest family trip stories are at times so funny. I will be walking down the street listening to the podcast, and it happened to be today. I full on burst out laughing walking down the street, and a whole group of people walking by me in the other direction just started pointing at me because I couldn't stop laughing. So I think the listener episodes of that show are worth it, especially because, you know, from one family podcast to another. Yeah. Not that like they need me to promote them, because they have like, well, they're like, oh my God, we have 8 million downloads just today. I'm like, all right, yeah. How did that happen? I wonder how it happened. But shout out to other listeners listening to good.
Yeah. Look, we support Nepo babies. We support Nepo podcasts.
All right.
All right. I love you, Beck. Talk to you soon.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Friday Night Movie, the sibling rivalry and pop culture podcast. Join the Friday Night Movie family by following @FryNightMovie on all of the socials and visiting our website, FryNightMovie.com. Our theme song is by What Does It Eat? And make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.